So you were part of a group that raised public awareness that the Blazers could leave town. I think a lot of people take for granted that they're here and they're never going to leave. Since you started that effort, there's a new majority owner, Tom Dundon. What are your thoughts about whether people should still be concerned about the possibility that the Blazers could leave town?
Well, just kind of, I'll get there. Started Rip City Forever with the idea of that there's a real risk for the Blazers, especially with the short-term deal that was put in place in the recent history. And I suggest all of you, if you have time or interest, watch the YouTube Sonic Gate. It tells the story of Seattle, what happened in Seattle. Mm-hmm. And what happened there was you had a very similar situation. You had an owner selling an arena that needed either to be rebuilt or major remodel, and you had a city and state government that weren't operating at anyway. There was some dysfunction there, and you had a situation where the eventual owner was from out of town. And the city and state were caught off guard. They weren't ready for it. They weren't ready for how quickly it came. And they didn't handle it well. And then they got into a pissing match with the commissioner. And they left. And there was a lot of blame pointed around, but they could never get the city and state, they could never get their act together. And so what Marshall and I did, Marshall Glickman, the son of Harry Glickman, the founder, and Marshall was president of the Blazers, said, hey, we've got to ring the bell here. We've got to prepare the city, state, let them know what could be coming and get prepared for it. And so that's what we did, and we brought in Aaron Hubert and Ryan Buchanan, Joth Rickey, kind of as a core with the Rip City Forever, and then we got 100 people to sign that were kind of influencers in Oregon, significant people in Oregon, from the senator to just across the board, everybody, and kind of galvanizing issue. Of course, then the team, as you said, the team got sold, and sure enough, it's somebody from out of town who has no allegiance to Portland, and it's not a knock on him, it's just reality. And so Portland has to realize it could be in a competition with other cities across the country. And what we've tried to say with Rip City Forever, don't view this as a crisis, use it, view it as an opportunity. I see this as a generational opportunity for the city and the state. These teams turn over every 30, 40 years. The arenas need major work. Sometimes you do them a long way, but usually it's 30 years or 20 years or whatever, but here we are. So we know we need both. Let's look at this as an opportunity, and the state said, let's step up, let's look at this. How do we inject some life into Portland, into that side of the river? How do we let's use this as an opportunity and view it as such. And view it as, hey, somebody has just invested $4.25 billion into Portland, and that's a big win. And we got to take our wins right now, and let's use that. My fear is that we've got to handle it the right way. So there's still a risk. There's still a risk until we get to that point where there's a deal that makes sense for both parties, and I believe it's got to be a win-win. It's got to be something that makes sense for the city, makes sense for the state, and works for the Blazers economically. And I think you can do all three. And if you do it right, as we've seen across the country, it could be great.